Post commentary because I'm an idiot with capture cards. And that's not the only problem. I also apologize for the lowered quality of video here. Something happened the last time I filmed this, and I would play it all again, except I've recorded a lot. And I've written over save spots, so yeah, I had to salvage whatever happened somehow. I had the video with the audio, both recorded, and everything was going fine, and I even had a few funny moments of audio in here that I really wish could have been saved, but excuse me. Something happened to where my movie editing software couldn't be it couldn't pick up the original video and audio, so I was kind of SOL here. I was able to salvage the video, so this is here still, and I'm just doing post-commentary. Yeah, that was one hell of a fight last segment, doing Dark Link and Sculpture over there for some reason. Now that's obtained by just putting on the iron boots and getting the nice big hookshot out. And this was kind of where I was worried. My only shot was one shot. I could probably get more arrows from the jar over there, but I mean that would have been hella annoying, so thankfully I had precision aiming since I'm not on a keyboard or anything. And I hit it right in its pupil too. Jeez, take your time a little more, why don't you? That was cutting it close. I remember like looking at it, I'm like, okay, and I'm gonna aim up a little higher. And I'm gonna aim up a little higher, and I never did. So yeah, notice this room? This is in fact the alcove that we had noticed earlier in this room, with the not quite Palkia, but it is still a water dragon. And last time I talked about the Dark Knight Rises, and I don't want to talk about that again, but man, they will not let up on the news about the Colorado shooting, will they? Like, I'm in a house, I'm staying with my parents for a few weeks before I head back to university, and my dad watches the news when it comes on, 7 o'clock every evening, and they just will not stop talking about it, and I get it, you know? It was a sad event. If it had happened closer to home, it would have been even sadder, I'm sure. But I was reading, I saw in another news program the other day how a few days ago in Iraq they had the most casualties in one day. Like, it was a unfortunate record, and the record for it was 103 deaths. And it just makes you realize how when things happen closer to home, it catches much more attention and is a lot sadder. But not even like 100 deaths goes relatively unnoticed by the greater population. I don't know. Again, the Dark Knight Rises was good. It wasn't great like the Dark Knight was, so it's like, whatever. There are no other movies I want to see right now that I can think of. Wish I'd seen Moonrise Kingdom. That looked really good. There are a lot of movies, especially from last year. I know I'm not talking about the game at all. Trust me, it's not interesting. It's still the Water Temple. It's still putting on boots and taking off boots, and raising the water level and lowering the water level. It's everything you expect it to be, except this next room is actually relatively cool. I stress the word relatively. Because it's kind of cool looking. The 6 most annoying enemies in the temple, these Tektites. I mean, you're hard-pressed to think of more annoying enemies. in, I guess there was one enemy in Wind Waker that was not terrible as hard to kill. Less, it was more so how terrible it was in terms of annoyance, and it's been ages since I played Wind Waker, so I couldn't remember the name of it, but it was a little thing in relatively near the beginning of the game where it goes, and even when you're far away, you can still hear it, and it's someone's probably gonna correct me or observe what it's actually called in the comments. So, and when that happens, you'll know what I think of that enemy. Anyway, movies. Not a lot of interesting ones out right now. I don't even remember what's out right now. Dark Knight Rises was the big blockbuster for this week. 160 million in its opening weekend. That's pretty intense. Oh, here was a room where I was kind of confounded for a little bit. This is switch that the second you step off it, it comes back up. So we'll see if you know what it is. It'll take a little noticing. No, it's not the jars. Can't exactly hold those underwater. You take them in and they break, as you'll find out later. I do try that. And also this is me raising the water level all the way up to see, oh, maybe if I swim quickly enough. Yeah, because that'll work. No, it definitely comes out fast. It looks like I almost made it, and then all of a sudden it just drops me. Do you notice now? We sure do have a crack in the wall. That's totally bombable. I just want to make it clear also that I'm not making fun of anybody who has a stutter when I say bombable. Making fun of the one time when I did try to say it and kind of stumbled over my words a little bit, so. I'm not insensitive, I promise. And here I couldn't quite figure out what to do, so I just kind of muddle around in the temple for a little while. If you were observant, you would have realized what I could have done in that room, but alas, I was not while I was playing this. Anyway, The Amazing Spider-Man, getting back onto movies, I heard that one was really good. I wouldn't know yet, I haven't gotten a chance to see it. And I do kind of want to, because I like all the actors involved. Remembering their name off the top of my head is... The only one I remember right now is Emma Stone? That's who it is. It looks like a legitimately interesting movie, but I just am so exhausted of these superhero movies. And what is so fascinating to me is why they determined that they needed to do Spider-Man again. Literally, the first one came out in the early 2000s. I remember I saw it in theaters when it came out. I wasn't. So, I remember, and it was fine. They were campy, they were a bit ridiculous. Second one was great. Third one had its faults, but overall it was okay, I thought. I know a lot of people hated it, which I was confused by, but whatever. I think people liked the second one a little too much, but who am I to say? Jesus, things won't die sometimes. Again, floundering around a little bit. It's funny, floundering, because it's like a fish, and I'm totally underwater like a fish. Yeah, okay, that wasn't funny at all, I know. What was I even saying? Oh, yeah, I'm just tired of superhero movies in general. They are so predictable. They're all the same. In fact, The Dark Knight Rises, I realized I said this in the last episode, but there were just so many scenes that seemed to be borrowed from other movies, practically. I don't remember exactly what I was doing here, necessarily. Um, I commonly hit B trying to get out of the pause screen, but that's one way in which this game is a bit odd, in that the B means save, and of course I forgot that I needed to get the hookshot target for, like, the boots instead. One movie that I'm really looking forward to, actually, coming out closer to the end of the year, there are a couple. The first one is The Master. That's one that looked to have a cast of some pretty good actors, but what I'm really excited about is that it's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who, if anybody knows him, they know that that movie's probably going to be pretty awesome, because Anderson also directed There Will Be Blood, which is just, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. I loved that movie so much. So, The Master's one. Another one would probably be The Great Gatsby, a remake coming out on Christmas Day. That looks really intriguing, actually. And then there's one other one. Lincoln, yes. Speaking of There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis is to star as Lincoln in the movie adaptation. It's not like necessarily a remake of any Lincoln movie. I don't know which ones it would be. It's more of a retelling of a biopic on Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis, and it's going to have like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Sally Field and even Tommy Lee Jones. It looks like it's going to be really good, so I'm excited for that one. And then one that I constantly find people don't know anything about, that is Rise of the Guardians. And whenever I say that, oh yeah, here's where I realized that these enemies actually rise out of the water to attack you sometimes, and that was kind of terrible, because they robbed me of almost all my hearts. Thank God they gave me some. I think I sank to fight this last enemy in its own territory. That was stupid of me, but because he proceeds to kind of wreck my shit almost. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So I guess I must have been a little bit insane while I was doing this. Oh yeah, at one point I thought the water would like lift the block up and I'd have to crawl underneath it to get to the other side. And push it back and forth a little bit, and for those who don't already know, when you see what you really have to do, you're gonna think I was just a total dumbass while I was doing this. And to be fair, I kind of was. Anyway, now Rise of the Guardians is not pertaining to the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Although it's understandable, but only in the title do they sound similar at all. No, this one is... It's basically about... This is going to sound weird. It's a movie about Santa, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and the Sandman, and possibly Jack Frost, all rising up together to fight against the Boogeyman. If you haven't heard of it, go check out the trailer. It looks like it's going to be fascinating. It's a CGI movie done by DreamWorks. I don't usually get this excited about DreamWorks movies, you know. Pixar and DreamWorks always seem to be locked in a never-ending struggle against who's, you know, better in the public eye, and Pixar more often than not wins out. But it looks like this year they might have it, because Brave was not too well received, and really it was just okay. You could probably hear a dog barking in the background. I apologize for that. It's outside somewhere. I don't know where it is. I had the window open. Because it's getting quite hot in the mid to end of July. all throughout the country, really, not just in the south, necessarily. Yeah, so you had to blow up 2 walls. Makes a lot of sense. Actually, it honestly does make a lot of sense, so... But yeah, the Monster... Monster. That's another movie I want to see, actually. Master, Lincoln, Great Gatsby, and Rise of the Guardians. Those look like 3 movies I'm really excited to see. Gee, this room doesn't look at all similar in any way to another room we had to go through, does it? Oh yeah, here I prove my awesome archery skills. And here, I don't know why this happens sometimes. It looked like my my bow arm was kind of flailing a little bit. I don't know if that's just because I made a few misses and Link got tired or whatever, but yeah, I killed both of them, and then the switch that leads to opening the door. And I won't reveal the big epic fail of this yet, but and it's not in this room, it's in the next one, you'll see. So this time around it was a bit easier, and then when we get through the big door here, for as much as people hate the water temple, like, I think it's very well devised, actually. Like, the intricacies of it, while annoying to navigate, are actually kind of fascinating. This one especially, this part of it especially, like how all of this interweaves and leads to this room up here. Check for hookshot target. Now get ready for the big reveal. Do you know what it's going to be? A locked door that I don't have a small key for. I'm going to try to... My reaction was something akin to, like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? This is... What? Where the fuck did I forget the last key? And then I remembered, so we're going to go back and get that, and for the next one, guys, we will see you later, in a better setup, thankfully.